Welcome to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents our MLB DFS pitcher picks for Wednesday, April 12th, 2017. I'm your host, Nick Valinchek, better known as Nick from CWE, on all your favorite daily fantasy sites. And last night was certainly a tilty evening. Coors, thank you very much for turning that into a pretty useless stack. I understand like 3 of the 4 main culprits from Colorado hit home runs, but solo shots just really aren't my bag. I kind of prefer when guys are able to get on base. The Rockies just not playing good at home. Really, to be completely honest with you, just not, as much as their record might dictate otherwise, just still a team that's not going to make it. Just not going to do it. I'm sure that we will see plenty of games at Coors that do turn out well, but it is just immensely frustrating, and baseball by far is my least favorite sport in all of DFS and coin flips included, because I can spend 4 or 5 hours researching what is a perfect play and have some bum come up to the plate and not be able to do anything with the opportunities given. With that said, I'm sure I have you well motivated for tonight's baseball slate. I'm going to be using FanDuel pricing here. Let's get things started with Steven Wright, 8,800, Boston Red Sox going up against the Baltimore Orioles. So a few things here that's worth mentioning. Number one, Wright didn't look great in his first start. I mean, it is what it is. He faced the Detroit Tigers. Didn't really get the job done. On DraftKings, he's priced at like 7,800. I think he's like the 7th or 8th highest priced pitcher. He's not a high strikeout guy. That's how DraftKings is very clearly pricing their pitchers this year, is based on strikeout capability. That's not Wright's bag. But what it is his bag is the knuckleball. And just kind of looking through the StatCast data, one of the things I always check, which really isn't StatCast, is just the previous matchups against opponents, because if somebody has held opponents to like a 120 batting average, or somebody's allowed a 360 WOBA rather against a specific team, like I'm going to kind of pay a little attention to that pitcher or targeting that pitcher because there's some element that shows evidence. Well, the Orioles are absolutely horrible against Steven Wright. They're like 11 for 65, 69, or 95, something in that general vicinity. Something about 3, basically like around 2.5 or 3 games, most likely towards 3 games pitched, because that'd be about 21 batters faced a game. Anyway, just absolutely horrible. Really have not been able to make contact. Now, typically I'm not a big BVP guy unless you start talking about 30, 40, 50 plate appearances, things like Evan Longoria against CC Sabathia, just because there's such a huge history between the two players that you can rely on that data a little bit that says, okay, Longoria knows how to hit CC. So that maybe not every time during the year, but if they face each other 4 times, it's possible that 3 of those 4 times you can use Longoria in your lineups and it'll work out. Well, the thing with Wright is that he's a knuckleballer, and one of the things that I've heard for years now is that knuckleball batted data in terms of like how hitters play against it is data that you can trust a little more because it's a specific type of pitch, and it's not like a team is going to get very good at hitting a pitch overnight. Not a lot's changed with this Orioles lineup. We pretty much still have the same top to bottom. Matt Wieters is gone. You see Caleb Joseph and Wellington Castillo more. But I think there's an opportunity here, if Wright does have his better stuff, that you're trading strikeouts for potential later innings. And we've seen a lot of pitchers, and I mean, it happens pretty much every year. Pitchers don't go much beyond 6 innings. If I could potentially give up 2 strikeouts to get closer to somebody who might be able to completely shut down an offense and pick up one of those shutout bonuses, especially on DraftKings, it's something I'm looking at. And because of the fact that he's a low strikeout pitcher, I see him being very low owned on this slate. Next up, let's jump to a guy who has the most strikeout upside on this slate, and that's Vincent Velasquez at 8,200. I believe he's near the top, if not at the top of the DraftKings pricing. And there's a lot to like about Velasquez. He is a high strikeout pitcher. He's facing a Mets team that, yes, did just absolutely tear his teammate Clay Buchholz apart, and then the bullpen. But the reality of the situation here is that Velasquez is eons better than Clay Buchholz. And I think the Mets, prior to this game, really were having a tough time getting things going. Wouldn't surprise me if Velasquez went out there, pitched a 7-inning, 10-strikeout gem, and ended up being the most valuable pitcher on today's slate. I think he's playable in both formats. I think some people might disagree because he does have a little bit of volatility with him for cash games. But if you've been playing this week, you know that nobody is safe. No pitcher is safe. Nobody. We've seen DeGrom, Harvey. We've just seen all of these guys basically get hit around. Maybe Harvey wasn't so bad. That was a bad example. But yeah, we've seen a lot of guys who are, this guy's a great cash game play, only to not be a great cash game play. So I think that I'm fine with taking a little bit of risk, quite honestly, with the upside that Velasquez possesses. Let's go for a little bit of a deeper pick here. And I don't know how trending it's going to be on FanDuel. This sets up to be something like a Tyler Glasnow play from a few nights ago. But I'm really not that concerned about taking Amir Garrett. I know that, going into the opening game, all the talk was on about how Garrett was not going to be able to sustain life at the major league level, and his stats just didn't back it up. And then he went out and just had an absolutely terrific game, albeit against St. Louis, who's really no slouch. But yeah, 4 strikeouts, 6 innings, no earned runs. That's 40 points on FanDuel with the win and the quality start. So, I mean, yeah, 5,500 or 6,500, I'm sorry, 6,100. Lord have mercy. I don't know why I can't spit it out. 6,100, I know, is a little bit of a risk here with a pitcher who is new to the majors. Pirates just not looking sharp, just not looking good at the plate. His teammate William Rookie Davis yesterday, didn't look horrible against this Pirates team. I'm willing to take a chance if a team is being sluggish at the plate. That's just it. That's the bottom line of the situation. So we'll see what outing number 2 looks like for Mr. Garrett. But in terms of tournaments tonight, my top 3, Steven Wright, Vincent Velasquez, Amir Garrett. Thanks for listening. Please hit subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com to sign up for our MLB mailing list. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.